This whole time, I thought my stepmother was a nightmare, and I thought my father was just hiding my biological mother from me. Well, guys, get this. One day, when I'm in school, one of the girls I know runs up to me screaming, Hey, some lady's looking for you, and she has an older picture from your Facebook, and she says that she wants to meet you, but I told her I don't know who you are, because I didn't want to intervene in something I don't have any business knowing about. Well, guys, it turns out this lady was my biological mom, and when I tell my father, he's beside himself. And I come to find out that my stepmother, she's not as bad as I thought she was. She just, quote, hated me because of something related to my bio mom, and you guys won't believe what it is. I'm 19. I live with my stepmother, Lily, and my father, Larry, in Springfield, Mass., the birthplace of my dad's favorite sport, basketball. They say it was invented here in Springfield in like 1891. You may ask why I'm talking about basketball out of the blue. Well, of course I should, because that's what makes my father different from his family. And this is what makes me similar to him. Otherwise, I'm completely different from my stepmom, and she does everything with grace, and I'm a mess. I'm more of a tomboy. Maybe my way of doing things irks my stepmom sometimes, and she can't help but show it. Although she is very considerate when it comes to taking care of me and my stepbrother, Lucas. Lucas was, 2 years younger than me, yet I can still feel the love that she gives Lucas more than she loves me because I'm not her biological daughter. Dad tells me that it's just me overthinking when none of what I feel is true because he says that Lily loves me like her own child. You see, in the end, it's true that my stepmom is considered, but much compassionate towards me. I have not seen my birth mom, Layla, since she abandoned me just when I got a couple months older. It's what my stepmom tells me, that I was abandoned by my mom. This is the trauma of my life, knowing that your mom abandoned you and you're reminded of it by your stepmother every single day. It's cruel and heartbreaking, and I can't help but hate my birth mom because of this reason. Even thinking about how she could leave me without caring as to how I would survive without a mother as an infant makes my heart bleed. I sense that it bleeds also because somewhere in my heart, I also miss her even though I have never seen her. Or maybe I miss her because I want to confront her. I want to ask her all those questions that are bugging my mind, but the most important of them is how could she abandon her own child? I hated her so much that when I came to know that she did not like basketball, I made it my goal to join the basketball team in my college. I think my hatred for my mom has almost dragged her into my life. You see, something strange has happened. Someone claiming to be my mother arrived at my college today and inquired after me. When I arrived at college today, Eve from my class told me that when she was sitting alongside other students on the stairs near the entrance of the college, a woman came and showed a picture asking if anybody had seen this person. Eve told me that it was a picture of me. Well, it was me in that picture. Thinking that it might create problems for me, Eve did not tell the woman that she knew me. Rather, she asked the woman about who she was, and the woman, and it comes as a shock to me as well, claimed to be my mother. As soon as I heard Eve telling me that the woman had gone towards the administration office, I ran there, full speed. Somewhere in my heart, I just felt like crying. I knew that I would not be able to believe it, since I know how come a woman who abandoned her child would return after so many years seeking that same child, but I still wanted to see my mother. I wanted it to be true. All my life I've been jealous of Lucas because he gets to share his worries and joys with Lily. He comes home from school, and Lily inquires about him and his day at school, and she comforts him when he tells her about the usual bullies at his school. I've never been given the same comfort, nor have I been asked how my day at school was. It's the same now when I'm in college, and My stepmom could not care less about what's going in my life. Sometimes she behaves so meanly towards me that I do feel like crying. She buys stuff for Lucas, but it's Dad who buys things for me, as she has not even cared enough to give me a gift on my own birthday. Every time on birthdays, she pretends in front of Dad that she forgot to buy a gift for me. And I think Dad has made his habit now of buying 2 gifts for me, which he says are from my stepmother. But I know the truth is that she never cared to buy one for someone who is not even her child. Usually, now and then, I would insist on telling my stepmom about my day at college, but she does not really seem very curious. Still, I make efforts so that one day she'd become interested in my life as much as she's interested and curious about Lucas's life. I know that this woman claims herself to be my mother could be a total bluff, and it might not be me in the picture, but someone who looks like me. Or she may be a lunatic who stumbled onto my picture online or something, although I don't really know how that's possible. Anything could be the reason, and I still, in my heart, I don't know, it ignites a bit of hope. I know I'm such a lost cause, knowing that I have such a caring dad, even if my stepmom hates me to death, or at least I feel so. You see, life can be no less than a trauma when you don't have either of the parents, and you know my father comes from a well-off family that has a business of its own. My grandpa is one of the leading businessmen in Massachusetts, and my grandpa and grandma are particularly conservative when it comes to the future and family. My father is 48 years of age now, but ever since he graduated from Springfield College, my grandpa wanted him to take over his business and marry the girl of their choice. My dad refused to do that, both of it, because he had a different aim. He wanted to be a basketball player. So he sought a different direction in life. However, when my dad failed to achieve that goal, he forced, my grandpa to work in the company as the managing director, if not the CEO. My dad agreed, and he worked there for a couple months until later he realized something more important. We as human beings want to thrive and thrive until we reach the destination that we have desired for all our lives. We don't feel at ease unless we get to that place where we want to be, and if by chance we fail, life becomes no less than hell, and living becomes a tedious task. My dad felt that way too when he was working in the company. He knew that he could not become a basketball player since he was reaching his 30s already, but a piece of advice from a friend of his planted a seed of hope in his otherwise barren lifestyle. He left the company and tried hard until he became a basketball coach at a school. My grandpa mocked my dad's choice and called him stupid, yet nothing could change my dad's heart. I admire him because before Lily came into his life, he was bringing me up all by himself. If abandoning was not a horrible thing, my mom had done something more terrible than that. My dad lied to me for a long time about his meeting my mom during a tournament where they were sitting side by side, and later found out that they were studying in the same college. But on my 18th birthday, I demanded him to tell me nothing but the truth. He sat me down after dinner as my stepmom went to wash the dishes in the kitchen and my stepbrother went to bed. What he told me, and what came to me as a surprise, was that my mom and stepmom had been best friends since their school days. They got admitted to the same college, so technically, my dad met my mom and my stepmom at the same time. They were in the same class as well, and I know it seems to be real, to be true, but it is the truth. I had thought that even though my mom abandoned me, at least she had loved my dad otherwise. Why would she do what she's done? I used to feel that my dad felt heartbroken, which was why he refrained from talking about my mom very much. I didn't ask him about her because I didn't want to remind him of her last, feeling of sadness that she left him with. But no, the truth had been the cause of pain to him. He told me that he had fallen for my stepmother the day he laid eyes on her. Soon, my dad, my mom, and my stepmom became good friends. My dad had planned to confess his love for my stepmother on her birthday, and if she gave him the green light, he would have gone and proposed to her at their graduation party. He told my mom about all this since he wanted her help with it. On the day of my stepmom's birthday, Dad was nervous, because he was to confess his love for her. My mom gave him something to drink, which he later found out was spiked by her, and she took him inside a room where she confessed her one-sided love for him. He soon lost consciousness and never had the chance to confess to my stepmom. He had not had any memories of that day. However, after several months later, on the day of their graduation party, my dad decided to propose to my stepmom. He didn't want to lose the chance this time. However, as soon as he proposed to my stepmom, my mom revealed that she was 5 months pregnant. It came as a real shock to the both of them, and it was unbelievable, but it was true. My mom claimed that the child was my father's. She reminded him of the night of stepmom's birthday, and by now, he could not do anything as he was almost thunderstruck by the news. My stepmom got so angry that she left the party and did not contact either of them until later, when my mom ran away after leaving me with my dad. Since dad did not love mom, he did not offer to marry her. Yet he offered a living-in to her after she gave birth to me because he was still figuring things out. They started living together, but later, my mom felt this was not the life she had expected, and becoming a mother at such a young age was not the right thing to do. So, she left me when I was barely 7 months old. As I rushed towards the admin office, I heard Eve shouting behind me. I stopped, panting right there in the hallway, and Eve came to me, panting as I was, and told me that she, had seen the woman going towards the exit. I asked Eve to come with me so she could recognize the woman for me. As we reached the exit, I saw a woman talking to a watchman with a pitcher in hand, and the woman looked pale and weak. She looked distraught, and her face was etched with distress, and what is surprising is that she had a lean figure and dark brown hair, just like me. Anyone who would have seen us standing beside each other would have pointed out the similarity between our facial features. She seemed to be in her mid-40s, and I realized that it was the same woman I had received a text from on my Facebook page. You see, I received a text from an ID that had Layla in it. The person had asked to meet me, and the person claimed to be my mother. I ignored it, thinking somebody was just pulling a cruel prank on me, but I still checked the ID, and there was some pictures. And now I realized that they must have been old pictures of the woman who was come to find me today. I could not believe just anyone, so I decided that I would text this person telling her to meet me tomorrow instead of showing myself to her today, because I wanted to be crystal clear and sure whether she was a lunatic, a stranger, or someone else. I had memorized her face so I could go home and check if Dad had kept any pictures of my mom. I could then use that picture to compare the face, and it could easily tell me the truth. I could easily come to know that this woman was fake and a liar. I knew that my hope was in vain. It was a flick of candlelight that would extinguish once I knew that this woman was not my mom. If any of you had any advice, then please tell me what I should do about this strange situation and this stranger claiming to be my mom. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. So it looks like OP is going through a very, very tough time. I mean, not knowing your mother and then having somebody just show up out of the blue like this, yeah, that could be a pretty bad day, or maybe a good day, depending on how you look at it. If you guys are new to the channel, we have videos every single day that are animated and narrated, and it covers all sorts of topics. The best way to support the channel is just to subscribe. So take a second, hit that subscribe button, guys, and I want to tell you, I have found every single update for this story. There's 3 of them, and, well, update number 2 is going to blow your mind. Let's go ahead and jump into the first update. I could not believe my eyes. I have not been able to bring myself to believe anything at all. Nothing made sense. I know many of you have suggested that I should contact the police, but trust me, you'd be shocked to know what I saw in my dad's secret box that I found in the attic. Without telling him, I had been looking for pictures and finally found so many of them from his college days. I didn't even know that those pictures existed because Dad never showed me any of the pictures from his college days before. He always said that he had none. As I said before, well, I had to find a picture of Mom so I could simply know whether the face of that strange woman matched my mother's, and I could also see that in almost all those pictures it was only my dad, stepmom, and Mom with their pretty smiling faces. I almost shed a tear or two seeing their smiling faces together. Dad has told me how my mom left me because she could not take the responsibility for me, nor could she live the life she did not expect to have. I also felt angry seeing how stupid my mom had been, that her one mistake destroyed the lives of all three of them. One thing had become clear: the woman claiming to be my mother was really my mom, Layla. I wondered why now. After all those years of her absence from my life, she suddenly appeared, telling me that she had returned, and I've hated that woman all my life because she was never there to look after me like my stepmom looked after Lucas. Trust me when I say that on the second day after confirming that the strange woman was really my mom, I went to college to confront that woman. The woman arrived when I was attending the class, and I sneaked out making an excuse. When I came to stand in front of that woman who was waiting by the cafeteria, her eyes became teary. She hugged me and called me by my name, and it did not make a bit of sense to me. Then she told me she's been trying to find me for the past few months, and finally she came across my Facebook through my dad's common friends, where she saw my name and got the picture too, and I'm not sure how I felt then, but eventually I let her tell me her story. I asked why she abandoned me, but she said she never did. Rather, she was forced to leave me when I was born because my dad cheated on her by getting involved with her best friend, who is my stepmom at present. She said that we should go to McDonald's, which was across from my college, so that she could talk freely outside the college space. Believe me, she told me a whole different story, and I could not stop crying after listening to it. She told me that she wanted to confess her love to Dad, so she had asked my stepmom to help her in finding some alone time with him. But she did not know that her best friend was also in love with him. On her best friend's birthday, she confessed to her dad, who seemed very, very drunk. She later found out that my stepmom had spiked my dad's drink so he could lose consciousness before my mom confessed to me. She did so because she did not want Dad to remember all that and wanted him to sleep before my mom had the chance to confess. However, things did not work out my stepmother's way, and when my mom confessed to my dad, he was still conscious, and they made out after he confessed that he also liked my mom. They started dating. At their graduation party, Mom revealed to Dad that she was 5 months pregnant, and he looked somewhat happy. My dad was struggling to become a national-level basketball player, while my mom, who came from a middle-class family, had started working in a company. Later, my dad chose to agree to my grandpa's advice that he must start working in his company. Amidst all this, my grandparents weren't ready to accept my mother. They didn't like her because she had gotten pregnant before marriage, and her age was another issue since she was only 25 and soon to be a mother. While my grandparents were against their decision, they did offer Mom compensation, thinking that it was their son's mistake that had gotten her pregnant. Mom refused it, though, and tried to reach out to Dad, but he did not pick up her calls all the time. Later, she was told by my grandpa that he had sent my dad on a business trip. Mom could not know why Dad was not picking up her phone, so she called her best friend to rant about Dad and Grandpa because she was annoyed with them, but her friend did not pick up her calls either. When Dad came back, he offered a live-in relationship to Mom instead of marriage, and I don't know, she found it really, really strange. Yet she went ahead and agreed because Dad was constantly going on business trips. She and Dad were living happily and were taking care of me together after I was born. Unfortunately, later something happened that broke my mom's heart. When I was 6 months old, Mom found out that Dad had been cheating on her as he would go out with her best friend Lily by making an excuse that he was going on a business trip. I don't know how Mom found out, but I take her words at face value. My mom wanted to confront Dad, but he denied the accusations, and when I was 7 months old, Dad brought my stepmom home as he married her behind my mom's back. Since Mom had no right to stay in that house, they kicked her out. However, my mom could not take care of me as she was barely earning from her job, so she chose to leave me at my dad's place, and she knew that Dad would not kick his own daughter out, so she believed it would be better for me to stay with him as he had a stable financial condition. On the other hand, being with Mom meant an itinerant lifestyle, which could not guarantee a stable upbringing for me. My mom told me that she wanted me back in her life, and I don't know what to do. She told me that the man she married died years ago and they had no kids. She feels the need to have her daughter back now, and I don't want to go back to someone who abandoned me though. But I also don't want to live with my dad and stepmom who made my mom abandon me. Is there no way for the tragedy and trauma of my life to end? I just want to cry, but I can't because no one can console me. I've decided to confront my dad and my stepmom now, and I want to take my mom home with me so everything can become crystal clear. Otherwise, I would die from all this confusion and utter chaos. Update number 2. I'm glad to know that so many people show sympathy for me. Still, it won't help me, but it might ease my pain. In my last update, I had said that I would take my mom home so that everything becomes crystal clear in presence of my dad and stepmom. But she refused to come with me, and she said that it was me whom she wanted back and did not want to see the face of anybody else. It's been 2 days and I have not heard from my mom, and I've not talked to anyone at home since then. I think my life would have been easy if I did not have either of my parents. If I was an orphan, at least all the drama that's led me to curse my own birth would not have happened. Yesterday, while I was having dinner with my family at home, my dad inquired about my silence for the past few days. I wasn't interested in giving him any answers because I was really mad at him. He asked me again, and I ignored him, but then my stepmom attempted to draw attention back to the present moment and snapped her fingers, unaware of the underlying tension, and I just snapped. And I asked her, "Why did both of you kick my mom out of the house?" They paused eating, and it was as if I had, struck them with a comet. The time on Earth and everything stopped in the middle of everything. Gaining control over the prolonged pause, my stepmother and dad looked at me, and my dad said, "Who told you this nonsense?" I told him I knew he had cheated on Mother once he found her best friend more attractive, and as the words left my mouth, I watched my dad's face contort with a mixture of shock and disbelief. "What? That's not true at all. Where did you hear such a thing?" His voice tinged with a bit of hurt and confusion. I told him everything about meeting Mom after college a few days back, and my stepmom gave the best annoyed reaction. She just stood and left the room. She behaved so passively and only uttered, "I can't handle this rubbish." Dad beckoned me to join him in the attic, and he opened the same box that I opened and also brought out an old box that had a lock on it. He opened it and showed me pictures that he said were from their final years in college. It was the snapshot of him and my stepmother sharing an American with 2 straws, while my mom captured the moment as he told me. Then he showed another picture from the same day, which was a group photo of all 3 of them. I had to believe that somehow my dad and stepmother had feelings for one another and my mom knew it. Dad told me everything. He had told me it was true and everything that my mom had told me was a pure lie. He said he had hidden one thing from me though, knowing it would hurt me if I came to know about it. I gave him no choice this time and made him reveal the final thing to me. He said, when he and Mom were in a living relationship, even after she gave birth to me, Mom agreed that because she could see my dad was earning a hefty salary for being a managing director at his father's company, she was happy as long as he was bringing money home. But as soon as he left his job and decided to become a basketball coach, my mom made that clear, that she was against the idea. She tried her best to stop him from going after his dreams, but he simply would not listen. Later, she told Dad she wanted him because he became a wealthy family. She wanted a stable but luxurious life, and her dad was unable to provide her with that. He soon found out that Mom was in a relationship with somebody who was filthy rich. The day she left a note to Father, writing that she never wanted to continue to live such a pathetic life having a middle-class household and family. She could not take care of a child that was born out of no love. She simply did not love Dad, rather, she loved him for his money. Once he lost it, she could not stay any longer, and he said, "When my mom left me with him, he was heartbroken, but it was my stepmother, who, after everything that happened on her birthday and graduation party, came to hold Dad's hand. She received a text from my mother that she had left Dad so my stepmom could have him now. I honestly felt so disgusted hearing how much of a gold digger and heartless person my mother had been. She had been a real freak who played with people's lives for nothing more than money. I told him that I did not want to go with Mom simply because I have come to hate her so much after hearing the truth. He hugged me, and I murmured that I only wished if my stepmom could also hug me then, since I needed the warmth of a mother. He said that she does not hate me and she tries to be the best mom to me that she can. It's just that I remind her of old unfortunate memories which makes her keep her distance. That day, I texted my mom via Facebook telling her she did not have to show up in my life. I was happy with my dad and stepmom, knowing they weren't after money like she was, and they really took care of me, unlike my mom, who realized that she had a daughter whom she needed in her life after all those years when she did not even care to show up and apologize for her mistakes. I warned her, italicizing that if she ever showed up again, I'll just let the police handle her. She sent me crying emojis and begged that I hear her one last time, but hey, I blocked her. Updates. Number 3. Guys, Mr. Reddito here. I have to tell you before we hop into update number 3, I found it. I actually managed to find OP's stepmother's perspective on the story. It looks like OP's stepmother found the thread when she stumbled upon her Facebook profile, and she deserves, well, to be heard out from us, because she has something to say. Guys, if you want to support the channel, hit that subscribe button for finding this different point of view update number 3. I stumbled upon my stepdaughter's story by mistake when I opened the link on her Facebook profile. It deeply pains me in the heart to see how so many people have called me an evil woman for not loving my stepdaughter. I'm the stepmother who is, quote, considerate but not compassionate enough towards her stepdaughter. I understand people sympathizing with my stepdaughter, and I'd rather call her my daughter because I've tried my best to treat her as my own child even though I did not give birth to her. However, how could I ever show my affection so overtly when she always reminded me of Layla, who did her best to absolutely destroy my life because of jealousy? It's true that she has been a gold digger and nothing more than that. But it had not been the sole reason behind her confessing her one-sided love for Larry. She never loved him, even if Larry thinks that she loved him, well, for his money. I know the entire story, and I know the entire truth. And now that my stepdaughter has finished her side of the story, I'm going to update you guys on everything. Layla and I became friends at school. Despite coming from a pretty wealthy family, Layla would confide in me about her envy for the attention. You see, I received it from other students, especially on Valentine's Day, later, in college when she got to know that I had feelings for Larry. She made a bet that he would never fall for me and she would make him fall for her herself. I thought she was being playful, so I let her join me and Larry whenever we made plans to go out. I didn't know that Larry had developed feelings for me because he would reciprocate my gestures of care and kindness for him. He also tried his best so we could spend some time together. However, Layla would barge in all the darn time. I did not know that Larry had confided in Layla about confessing his love to me and proposing to me at a graduation party. Layla was so jealous of me after she heard about Larry's plan, and Layla decides to spike his drink on my birthday so she can make out with him, and she knowingly got pregnant that night. When she revealed this, she wanted to make me leave Larry so she could finally have him for herself, not because she loved him, just because she was competing with me in her mind. I could see a smirk on her face that day that I left the party and Larry alone. Larry tried to contact me, but after a few days that stopped. Still, months later, when I received Larry's text, I became hopeful. I know I was disgusted to know what all Layla had done to him because of her greed, but I was more furious to know that she did not even think about her daughter. Nope. I've always tried my best to be a good mother to her, and no one knows or would believe, but I did buy gifts for my stepdaughter on her birthdays. I did buy gifts for her whenever I bought things for Lucas, yet I could never muster up the courage to give them to her myself. So I did ask Larry to give them to her. I never could because she looks so much like Layla. After reading her thoughts about me, I've realized that I thought it was only me suffering or going through pain, but I think she has also suffered quite a bit. She may not read it, but at last I want to say that I've tried my best to treat her right. At least I've tried not to make her feel abandoned as her own mother did. I don't think I can do more than what I've done already for my stepdaughter. What do you guys think?
Okay, guys, so we found in the end of the story how we saw the stepmother's perspective and sides, and to be honest with you, I thought the comment section was going to be in support of the stepmother, but I'll be real, it didn't seem like anybody was supporting her. And why do they say that? They're saying, hey, it doesn't matter if OP reminded you of someone else, aka her biological mother. She had nothing to do with that. And you were actually just being so rude to her when she was growing up. You made her think that she did not have someone that she could lean on. She didn't have a mother figure, and she thought you hated her. And if that wasn't really the truth, then why would you make it so difficult? So they were not going easy on the stepmother, even though we found out a little bit later on that she really didn't have any ill intentions for OP, and it turns out the biological mother was behind all of this. I do want to know if you guys were in the stepmother's position. Would you have done something differently from the get-go? And also, what if you were in OP's position and you come to find out all these deep secrets about your father, stepmother, biological mother? I mean, this story ran deep. So drop your comments down below. I'll see you in the comment section. I can't wait to read and reply to your comments. Guys, my name's Mr. Reddito. If you're new to the channel, we do daily animated drama stories, which includes inheritance dramas, mother-in-law disputes, affairs, even have some private investigator stories. I mean, this channel covers it all. And if you want more daily updates and short stories, you can check out the Instagram channel, which is directly below in the description for all my links. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and just remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.